everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Travel and Transformation Show with me, your host, Sophia. And today, my guest is Preeti Agarwal. And if y'all have been listening to me for a long time, you know I have a tendency to butcher names, but I think I got this one right.
You
Preeti,
did, you did.
thank you. Preeti, welcome to the show. And let me tell you guys a little bit about her. So, she is the vice president of a company called Saladence, which is a fintech company. She has over 20 years of experience in real estate, and her family have a portfolio of rental properties across the US. So, I'm going to let her tell you the rest about her.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. So, to give you a quick background about me, I came to the US. I'm an immigrant. I came to the US when I was 20, 21 to do my master's and was, planning of going back, joining my dad's company, heading it, and then ended up meeting my husband in college. So, trajectory changed. Instead of moving back to India, we ended up settling in Southern California, where he's originally from. And we were in Southern California for about 17 years. So my background is in marketing. I have a master's in marketing and I have a bachelor's in economics and statistics. So that kind of fit really well with the family office. And we started, it was a very, very small operations. We started like ground up. And, we started with a company of maybe only about 20, 25 employees back then.
Mhm.
And today it's over 200.
Oh, wow. So that's a lot of growth. So, what was the first company that you guys started?
Okay, so we actually, as I mentioned, they have a family office. So my father-in-law actually started SunWest Mortgage, which is a mortgage company. And my husband, being in real estate, his mom was a real estate agent. So he remembers actually going to open houses and sitting in a car while his mom and dad were doing open houses. So that's how integrated he is in the business. He basically grew up in the business. So he took, when his father's health started failing, he was working from the time he was 12 years old. A summer school, summer program. He actually went to UC Irvine, electrical engineering. So he's a complete geek and nerd. He's the on the complete opposite of me. So he took the company over, and again, like when we started like growing the company, it was at a modest 25, 30 people company, and at this point, it's over nationwide and globally, it's over 2,500. So we have two companies. So one is a mortgage company, and then about 10 years ago, when AI was not the AI craze that it is today, we had built the first software for the mortgage industry.
Mhm.
And, we have had um, studies and which has been published in Wall Street Journal that the complexities that occur in processing a loan today is not how it used to be in the 60s. So you're trying to use the same formula from the 1960s to 2025, 2026, which is not, you know, just doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Single family where only, one spouse is working, one spouse is a homemaker. Suddenly you have, you know, a working mom who's working three jobs. And then how do correlate, how do you combine those jobs to make sure that she qualifies for a loan?
Right.
So what we noticed in this process was from from four African American borrowers that were rejected, like two should have been approved. And we have case studies that actually prove that. And we're really proud that we were able to bridge that gap.
Mm.
Sad part is through this process, what we realized is the one category that was being I would say, represented unfairly was the veteran. And I was, I did not expect that.
Oh, okay.
So the veteran community, I mean, we're pretty big in the veteran community. And those are the guys that were, giving everything for our country and then coming back and then, don't have the finances to purchase a home.
Oh. That's
But
interesting because I
yeah,
wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought a different segment of people would have been the ones.
right, right. Yeah. So that's like the business aspect of it. I've been working with my husband and better half for about, gosh, we've been married almost 30 years. So I have three beautiful children, two crazy dogs that keep me up my feet all day long. And, we've been partners in this journey together and, happy to share whatever I can to encourage users and encourage your viewers to just keep moving on.
Okay. So before we get to that, because I definitely want to get to that, that's a very important piece of this. You told me before we got on air that you just opened a hotel in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Tell us about that because again, part of this is about transformation and information, but the other part's about travel. So if we're going to Puerto Rico, let's hear about the this new.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I actually spotted a property while I was walking to the grocery store. And I would always pass this property and wonder, why is it? It's just a beautiful property and a beautiful, like right on the um, main touristy street, which is called Ashford Avenue in Condado in San Juan. And I always used to wonder, like, what's wrong with this property? It's bang opposite the AC Marriott Hotel. It was a grand, like 1920 property, but it was like in dismal shape. Like the roof was gone. It was basically a shell.
Mm.
So we found the owners and our broker started talking to the owners and what we found out it was a very old Puerto Rican family, like second generation, third generation. They had had many offers, but they were rejecting every offer because they didn't want the structure and the significance of the house to change. They wanted somebody who would respect their feelings and respect their approach and instead make a smaller hotel or whatever, either a hotel or an office, and make it into what it is today. They didn't want like a huge like 10-story structure.
Right. They wanted
So
to
most
maintain the integrity of the original
correct.
property.
Yeah. So the original property, I mean, it was amazing. It was actually 1925 or 1929 that the architecture was a very well-known architecture in Puerto Rico, built this property. And it became a historic property. And for folks that don't know what a historic property is, we are very, very closely scrutinized by the government and the tourism department to make sure that whatever additions we are doing, we are maintaining the original facade of the property. We have to maintain, the structure, the architecture, some of the things. We could not change, some of the beams. We couldn't change some of the arcs. And, we really worked hard to incorporate the Puerto Rican culture and bring in Indian culture where I'm from and kind of like marry the two cultures together. So what you see is rich tapestry inside the property, vibrant colors, but also maintaining the peacefulness and the integrity. And we have 100-plus-year-old tree there. And I was extremely adamant that we are not doing anything to this tree, save as many trees as we can,
Mhm.
make sure we do whatever we're doing around this structure. So what we ended up doing is creating a 10-bedroom boutique hotel that we inaugurated in November of last year, and it's in full production and available for anybody to come visit.
And what is the name of it?
It's called Floor, like flower,
Mhm.
de India. So when we were coming up with names, I also wanted something that honored the Spanish culture and combine the Indian culture. So we were like brainstorming, and somebody said pokey, and someone said something else, and it was like, wait a minute, we have to include both. And I kind of looked through research and found that this particular like Floor Day was a name that wasn't taken.
Mm.
And then, so this is a unique hotel in which, this is the first hotel that has a combination of both, uh, both cultures. And what I really like is there is a 1929, I wish I had a picture to show you guys, but the 1929, um, like a ceramic tile right at the entrance of Jesus.
Mm.
And I loved it so much that I was like, no, we are keeping this because it just represents so much for so many people. And we wanted to make sure that we respect that and we incorporated that within our own, decoration and the ideology behind the hotel.
So I have to ask, it's
Mhm.
a mix of cultures.
Correct.
What kind of cuisine do you serve? Because I love both.
Actually, we are a very small boutique hotel. That was the other condition that the sellers had put across to many buyers. And that's why the property kind of sat for quite a while. They did not want a hotel, and they didn't want a 10-story skyscraper coming up there, destroying, the cultural aspect of the property. So we maintained it as a 10-bedroom boutique hotel. At this point, we do not have the ability to offer breakfast or food and beverage, but that's hopefully will come in the near future. So at this point, we have a nice pool. We have we're incorporating some tours around the island. We're incorporating massage therapists. So that's all like in the works. And, I'm so excited because I keep learning different things every day. And it was, the day of inauguration, we actually um, forgot a few things. So we were like, everybody was like scrambling around the island, and people were so generous and so kind, and helped us out in whatever little way they can. So it was a great experience.
Well, that sounds lovely. So we're gonna have to talk after this because
Sure,
I have questions, but I also want to move forward.
sure.
So you said that you have worked with your husband for like almost 30 years, right?
Correct.
And so yes, this podcast is mainly, for single women who a lot of them don't have kids, they're professionals, and they may or may not want to be in a relationship. But if they do, I wanted to bring on somebody who could speak to what it's like to work with a spouse or significant other, because I think that that brings up a whole, especially if you're not with someone in the moment, it brings up a level of angst. It's like, what would that be like? I'm spending 24/7 with another human being. So it's not enough that we live together and we're married or we're cohabitating, but now we work together. Like, what does that even look like? So I wanted to have somebody on who's doing it and doing it successfully and has been doing it long term who could speak to that.
Well, I mean, I never looked at it, to be honest with you, as a burden. It's basically a great partnership where both of us are equals. He's the nerd tech. He does his stuff. I'm the marketing. I'm the ops person. I do my stuff. And yes, in between, we'll come together at the project, or we'll be doing, combining our thought processes and our knowledge together. And yeah, at times we've butted heads where I am adamant that this is not going to happen. He's adamant it's going to happen. And then we'll like hash it out and come to an in between spot. So that has happened many times over. And when things don't go, like as a woman, I'll say, I told you so. And he will just stay and say, yeah, I know. Yeah, I told you so. So I've always looked at it as an equal partnership, as an opportunity for me and for him to learn from each other. And as we all are professionals, everybody leads like super busy lives, doing maybe two or three different um, jobs that you may be doing. You may be a real estate agent, you may be a professional, you may be still, a single woman but still taking care of your elderly parents, or, you have a pet, or you have kids, you don't have kids. I mean, but every aspect requires sacrifice. And in my humble opinion, in the 30 years that I've been doing this together with my husband, requires, as I said, um, the ability to integrate thought processes together. So I always I've always learned that no job is beneath you. I have a master's in marketing, and when we were starting our company ground up, I was a marketing person, I was a secretary, I was the one booking flights, I was the one making sure that all of our trade show materials, was put in together to help our executive team, or help our technical team actually go and present at conferences to market our product. You know, there were times when you have to see and you have to understand what you are good at and be confident in that. You know, I didn't know how to write code, but I do understand the product. My husband's the one who writes the code. Right. So we kind of made it, and he's horrible in marketing. He has learned through the years, but but that's the partnership, right? That's what he brings to the table. That's what I bring to the table, and together we create a beautiful plate. That's how I look at it.
So, how do you separate work life from family life?
It is, to be honest with you, I'll be brutally honest, it's extremely hard because as people are building companies, you're at it 24/7, and it's a challenge. But at the same time, we try to take as much time as possible together with our kids, or taking our kids for walks, or, walking with the dog, something even small. Because when you are when you have busy lives, you're not going to be able to, you know, dedicate the entire weekend. I think I'll be very honest, I may have taken like 2 vacations together in our 30 years where we actually didn't have work integrated into it. But would I have it any different? No, because I do know the sacrifices. I do know the amount of perseverance and the amount of courage it takes to build something. And I would suggest that, or I would, in my part at least, like I have done both. I've, started a company, I've created a hotel. Is there time? You have to make time. You always have to make time, and Mm. all of this comes and goes, but family is what remains with you. You don't give time to family, then in the end it's you who's going to suffer.
Right. So, do you guys, so when you say you make time, do you put each other on your schedules? So you're in his calendar and vice versa?
No. When, like, say, for example, they're making coffee and I'm seeing that it's on a Saturday afternoon and this guy's still on the phone, and I will just signal to him, like, shut it off, like, let's go out. And he immediately gets it and he reciprocates and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I have to let go." And that's how we make time, even if it's for an hour. Even it's I do not, to be honest with you, I do not have expectations that my husband and my spouse is going to spend the entire weekend with me. I know that's not going to happen. But if he spends an hour with me, I'm happy with that. I am not resentful, or because marriage is a bundle of, it's a great adventure together, but it's also sacrifice, compromise, understanding each other, respecting each other. And if you have that in combination, you're pretty much unstoppable.
Well, and I like the way you put that you're not resentful of the things that he has to do because you understand that that's part of the sacrifice of
Yeah.
growing the company. But that 1 hour of quality time is kind of the glue that keeps the relationship moving.
Yes, definitely.
So well, and I'm already hearing the tips in there. So it's one of those things that you have to know each other and you have to know each other pretty well, which means, and so that's a very intimate thing that you need to do is pay attention and really notice the other person. Because if he can just look at you and understand, it's like you have your own secret language. So you can just look at him and he gets it. It's time to get off the phone.
Yeah, I'll just give him that look.
And yes, that comes with time, but time, I think a lot of people mistake the fact that just because you have been around someone for a long time, that you know them. And that's not necessarily true. It's like you have to take the time to really get to know them, to observe them, to understand what makes them work, what makes them tick, what makes them happy. And then well, I mean, after 30 years, again, you guys have your looks, your language. So it's like, I get it. I know that look. It's like my mom, I think most moms, but my mom had a look. And if she gave me that look, I knew exactly what that meant. Okay. And
Very true.
the look was generally stop doing what you're doing or there will be consequences. It all wrapped up in that one look. So I'm sure that's not the look you give your husband, but it's the secret language.
That's true.
Is there anything else you would tell our listeners if they decided, yes, I want to go into business, maybe even not with a spouse, but a family member?
Um, Again, what I would say is, make sure your ideas and your views match. You both have the same passion. You both have the same zest in doing what you want to do, and enjoy it. I mean, if your heart is not in it, and I had a physician friend in New York City, believe it or not, who basically left her, um, got burnt out, left the medical profession, and now is a professional dog walker,
Mm.
and earning close to $500,000
Oh, wow.
dog walking in New York City. And but she's intelligent, she's educated, and at the same time, she realized that this is not for me. I don't think I'm set for the medical profession. And she ended up being a dog walker, being around things that she loves. She loves the outdoors, she loves dogs, and she loves taking care of pets in the home. So it's any business, but I gave this as an example of somebody who was so way high up there. And do you think that she lowered down her expectations? No, she realized that that is what made her tick. That is what made her happy, to get out, to be excited. Things get hard in life. I mean, sometimes you're getting up and you're like, oh, this is another day, another day of routine, mundane work that you have to do. But don't look at it that way. Look at it positively. Look at, what difference are you going to make in people's lives today?
Mm.
And if you go with that attitude, you will really enjoy what you're doing. A lot of people don't enjoy what they're doing. And that's why it becomes like a routine 9 to 5 type of a, situation where you're just getting a paycheck and coming back home, but you're not happy. If you're not happy, and if you're not happy in work, it's going to project everywhere else. You're bringing that same frustration to your dining table.
Right.
Your kids or your spouse or whoever it is seeing that frustration. And you're restless because you know something's wrong, but you don't know how to fix it.
Right. Because it's
So I
almost
think
thinking there's more to life. I know there's more to life than this, but what is it?
exactly. So the maturity and the maturity to understand that and the courage to accept that is what will take you forward.
And of course, working with someone like me.
Yes, that's
Because
true.
I get, well, the thing is, and I say that and I laugh, but it's true. And I'm serious because sometimes you need somebody to help you see those blind spots. Or if you're in that space where you've been in that space for so long that you can't actually see a way out. You don't see the
Correct.
light at the end
Very
of the
true.
tunnel.
Yeah, you may not see it, but somebody else who's a professional who can, see the other side. You're very absolutely correct. Like if I'm judgmental about my kids, and I'm like, not happy because they're not doing something, and somebody else comes in and say, hey, they have a completely different perspective, and I'm like, oh God, why did I not see this? But that's why, you have other individuals and professionals to help guide you.
So, if people want to learn a little bit more about your company that you're vice president of, how would they be able to get in?
So yeah, so just Google the product. It's Angel AI. You can download it. It's basically your AI assistant tool to help you function. So say for example, if you're a mortgage professional or a real estate agent, and it's right now it's directed towards this field, but in the future with the bills that we're doing, it's going to be available uh, to anybody, not just primarily in the mortgage or real estate business, but for now, primarily it is real estate and mortgage focused.
Mhm.
So you can download the product, you can ask the product questions. It's basically the key of this product. It has our mortgage company is a 42-year-old mortgage company, so it's basically has the all of the 42-year-old data embedded into the AI tool, which is Angel AI. And of course, when we were debating about the product, we basically, I'm digressing a bit, but we basically, when we were brainstorming, we were like, okay, we need somebody who can do 20 different things at one time, not dropping the ball on something. And I said, well, that's a woman. You need so our logo is a ballerina because she's graceful, yet she has the strength to carry the world on her fingertips, on her
I
toes.
love that. I love that.
So to come back, you can download Angel AI. You can ask, if you're an individual and you're have a loan question, you want to see if you qualify for a loan, you can ask. You can just start interacting
Mhm.
with the product to understand and see, where you are at the loan origination process.
And the way, well, the way things are going in this moment in time, is real estate still a good way to go?
Real estate is the best way to go. It is the best investment I think we've ever made in our lives. And I say that, as a long term investor who's been doing this for over 20 years. The only regret I've had at times is when I have sold a property.
Mm.
So, real estate, we just ventured into RV parks, which is another very, very interesting, portfolio that I've never worked on. So, again, it was a learning experience for me as well. But real estate, money comes and goes, right? Real estate, I mean, crypto is up today, down tomorrow. Stocks are volatile, but real estate is something that stays.
But in today, and now I digress, but in today's times, homes are so expensive that it seems to me, because so currently I'm in the state of Oklahoma. Usually I'm in the state of California. And they tore down, like right beside me, they tore down little homes that were right there. And then they built this whole thing.
Complex.
Right. But they're condominiums. And the thing is, the way they built them. It's almost like they built them knowing that people were going to have roommates in order to afford them because they built them with an upstairs and a downstairs, but the upstairs has its own separate entrance. Then they have a staircase in the middle so that the kitchen can be shared. So if I'm looking at if I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, well, how would I even qualify with, especially with one income, for a loan to buy a home? And would this tool help me figure out
Yeah, this tool will help you figure out where you're at and what you need to qualify for a loan. It will definitely, it can look at your loan, it can look at your like W-2s or your 1099s, if you have like, three different income sources. And it can combine it together and then tell you, okay, maybe not now, but this is where you need to be in order to qualify for, a conventional loan, an FHA loan or a VA loan or what have you. But it can give you that guidance is there 24/7, 365 days a week. You don't have to wait on a Monday morning to wait for the realtor's office to open up or for your mortgage broker to tell you, hey, this is possible or this is not possible. It's available at your fingertips 365.
so at this point, if not now, okay, let me rephrase that. If you don't have it at this point, at some point in the future, will you be offering within the tool alternative ways of financing that are not conventional loans?
Right now, I think we are sticking to the government, uh, you know, FHA, VA, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, reverse mortgage loans. We don't do commercial because that's not our specialty suit. But who knows? Markets may change and we may start offering something else. I mean, last year we did a credit repair, and this tool is completely free. You don't have to pay a cent. There's no commitment to any monetary commitment on your part. We also introduced last year. We introduced a tool to fix your credit score. So, say for example, you know you're a college student and you had a Spectrum box that you forgot to return to Spectrum for the cable. And suddenly, you have that ding on your credit history, but you don't even remember that this might even, was even an issue.
Mhm.
The credit repair tool will actually help you fix that. And I, saw it going through that process where it continuously just kept calling and calling and calling the credit bureaus until they kind of got fed up and they would fix the credit score. Of course, if it's something complicated, then yes, we do have a um, a provider that we deal with, a partner that will take over the more complicated credit score problems.
Okay. So it looks like you guys are providing a lot of information that people need. And because I know, again, from experience, so I let somebody use a card of mine, ran the card, didn't pay the card, and didn't know. And that was a hit. So when I went to buy my house, that was there. And it would have been good to have a tool to help me repair that. But long story short, I got my house anyway because good people were sent into my life that were able to help me fix that issue. But to actually have a tool that can help with that, I think is really important. So, well, thank you for having that. And so, is this tool separate from Angel AI or
No, it's a part of
is it?
Angel AI. So yeah, it's a tool. I mean, the Angel AI is the main tool, and then we have like um, subsidiary tools that we offer. It's one of them,
Okay.
and it's completely free to use. You have no obligation, no commitment. Just go in there and say, "Hey, Angel, I want to fix my credit," and then Angel will start asking you a bunch of questions, and we go from there.
Okay. And then if you're, and now I'm like so off in the way, but it's the way my brain works. I got to go there. So if you're an entrepreneur and it can obviously can still help you, but if let's say your income is not steady, right? Because some months you have great months and other months are
Right.
so would this also help in that respect to say, okay, we see maybe your 6-month history and you need to do X in order to be able to.
Yes, I mean it follows and the great part about the AI tool is it's constantly learning. So, for example, it has like the set of the data for 42 years of data fed into it. So it's seen like every kind of parameters, every type kind of trouble case scenarios where it can give you a pretty accurate answer. And actually, we stand by the product so much that um, for anybody, people ask me, how do I make money? And the way I make money is if you run the loan through us. You're not obligated to do that. But if you use our company, our mortgage company, which is Sunwest Mortgage, if you use that and your documentation is, you know, is prim and proper, meaning you have all the closing docs and everything is, all the paperwork is good, and you submit it by 8 p.m., we have a guarantee by 8 a.m. you will get your pre-approval docs. And in the entire spectrum of the AI, we have had maybe four in like, billions of dollars of loans that we've run, four loans that we've had to, that we have basically said, yeah, I made a mistake and we take it back. We're going to accept it. And there've been four in about almost 10 years, like thousands and thousands, that we've billions of dollars that we've done, but you know, we've had only four instances.
Well, that's really a good statistic. So that said, I think people should go ahead and Google it, download it, and if you're thinking about buying a house, whether it's your first home or a rental property, I think this would be a great tool to help.
Thank you. And that's how we met, right? We met at Shanda's house
Yes.
in Puerto Rico.
Yes, exactly. While I was learning about the tool. It's been such a pleasure having you on. Thank you so
Oh,
much
thank
for
you.
being you.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.